Good morning. As Paul is laying the foundation for the resurrection and the delightful benefits of the resurrection of Christ, we read the order of things. Christ, the first fruits, and then after Christ, those who die in Christ, those who are Christ's at his coming will be resurrected. And then he continues here with this idea that for he must reign, that is, for Jesus must reign until God has put all his enemies under his feet. The last enemy that will be abolished is death. For he has put all things in subjection under his feet. But when he says all things are put in subjection, it is evident that he is accepted who put all things in subjection to him. But it might be a little bit easier if we replace the pronouns with nouns. He says, let me back up here. He says, for Jesus must reign until God has put all his enemies under Jesus' feet. The last enemy that will be abolished is death. For God has put all things in subjection under Jesus' feet. But when God says all things put in subjection, it is evident that God is accepted to put all things in subjection to Jesus. So there's a pretty simple step to recognize who's doing what here. All these things are from God. And he created the world through Jesus, for Jesus, by Jesus, and put Jesus now at the head of everything. In the same way, in a microcosm kind of example, that Pharaoh put Joseph in charge of everything in Egypt except his own throne. Now Jesus has been exalted to the highest. He is seated at the right hand of the Majesty on high until the last enemy is abolished. That last enemy is death. And we recognize that when he says he's put all things in subjection to Jesus, the throne of God is accepted from that. Jesus is the supreme ruler of everything, why we call him the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. But he's still at the right hand of the Majesty on high. When everything is finished, he'll deliver up the kingdom to the Father, just registered, so that God may be all and in all. And we'll read that again later on in this chapter. When we look toward the end, when that last trumpet sounds, and Jesus comes with shouting archangel, dead in Christ are going to come with him, and their bodies will be resurrected. And we, if we're alive, will be changed. We're going to read that again for this chapter, and also Paul's letter to the church and thank. So as believers, be confident in what's going to happen on the last day. And part of it is living these days now, where death is still the enemy, and death truly is still our enemy. It's the enemy of church, is the enemy of the family. Death is the enemy of the wife or the husband, the widow or the widower. Death is the enemy of children. Death is the enemy of God. And when that is abolished, when we'll see Jesus face, and I look forward to that day with confidence, knowing that because Jesus has overcome sin, temptation, the grave itself, I can trust in him, and so can you. He loves you, and he loves you.